We'll talk about the ramifications with United and top four in a minute, but let's just focus, shall we, on this game in particular, which was, I think, one of the worst United performances I've seen for a very long time.
And they've had a few recently.
Yeah.
Look, the scoreline's a shock, but the result's not a shock in terms of them losing. Okay, you can lose to Barcelona. That's not a criticism of losing to Barcelona, because they're not at that level at the moment. However, I've mentioned it on the show. Previous games, Watford at home, outplayed and won. West Ham at home, outplayed by West Ham and won. So no real shock that they lose the game, but a shock in terms of the way they played, which was absolutely abysmal. I mean, it really was. And barring, I know we'll talk about it in a bit, but barring a unbelievable turnaround in fortunes and attitude, how the hell are they going to cope with Man City? I mean, that's a big concern.
Where was the fight, Frank? There was just no response, was there, at all throughout this whole game, as they just got completely battered?
No, that was really appalling. First, you have to congratulate Everton.
Sure,
I think they had a fantastic
yeah.
game, and I think they did the job. And this way, Manchester suffered. They maybe didn't expect that quality from the toughest players. But really, when I was watching the game, I said, they all do the thing in the wrong way, where it's like he's never the guy who has the ball who decides, for example, where the ball is going to go. It's the offers from the other players who forces the guy with the ball to give the ball. And they go the other way around, where I saw so many times players with the ball almost saying to the guy, go there, and I give you the ball. And it, of course, never goes anywhere. It's like they never play together. It's like they only play individually and didn't really care about what was the other thoughts. And so it can't work in that way. It cannot work.
There's no pattern of play. There's no real pattern to what they're trying to do. Every team they've played against that's a poorer squad than them generally has had a pattern of what they've wanted. Now, people will say, well, what about all the great results when Ole came in? Well, that's fine, because everybody got a real lift when Mourinho left. And a real lift when this nice, likeable guy who's been at the club and he's done it, and he's friendly and he's approachable, and you can engage with him, and you start to get results. And then the air starts to come out the balloon. I've talked about this. The one thing I can't get my head around here is, in all these recent poor performances, and that's 5 straight, I think, is it 5 straight away?
Yes.
Which has gone back many a year since that happened, was if all the great results early on under Solskjaer were amazing management for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, why is everyone absolving him of blame for this current bunch of performances? It seems that there's selective punditry going on here.
Right.
Across the board. Solskjaer was great. Now the players are hopeless. It goes back to my point, and I don't know, and I still don't buy into this. They had to give him the job. No, they bloody well didn't have to give him the job, right? What's his body of work, and on what basis, apart from a few results on a whim, did they have to give him the job? Now you've got Ed Woodward saddled with a guy who might not make the top 4 after being third, has to rebuild the whole football club. But from what basis? From what basis can you say, right, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will sort this out?
Yeah.
What basis?
Where did you stand on the Solskjaer appointment, Frank?
Well, it's as Craig said, you have the first step when he's welcomed, and you have changes. We saw Pogba, for example, under Mourinho, having his head down. Solskjaer came up, and we find a new, or again a newer Pogba. But it's just the rebounds. Then after, there is the truth, the quality of the club, the quality is there, the history is there, but the quality of that new generation, where you can go and how far you can go with that team. You cannot go far.
Yeah.
They went through against Paris Saint-Germain because Paris Saint-Germain made so many silly mistakes. They allowed Manchester United to go in the quarterfinal. You have to be blind to think otherwise. And you had the truth after against Barcelona. But in the Premier League, they showed a little bit of better way to play.
Yeah.
But if you compare the 6 big teams in the Premier League, they are the team with the less qualities.
Yeah.
And it's been showed this afternoon clearly because of the quality, but also the character of the players and the way they want to save or do something for Manchester United, the club.
You mentioned Pogba, obviously. He was under a lot of scrutiny, under Mourinho. And as you mentioned, Mourinho goes, comes in, he plays well, everything's fine. However, in this run that Craig mentioned, he, again today, and I know it's not just all about him, but he is the most expensive player that United have ever bought. Yet again, he's anonymous. Yet again, he's completely and utterly out of it.
Well, you know, we were waiting for the Pogba's performance against Paris Saint-Germain and then after Barcelona, because we always say, you know, the big players, they're big in big games. And he was nowhere near it. We didn't see him the first leg in Old Trafford. He was suspended against Paris the second game and the second leg. Then played the 2 games Barcelona. We never saw him. He has to, of course, he has to wake up and he has to understand that...
he doesn't want to be there, though, does he?
I think, he's already thinking about leaving and maybe going to Real Madrid with the performance that we saw. He's not the only one. We talk about him because he's the most expensive player. Yeah. But, of course, he's nowhere near it. He has to wake up like any other player.
I've always said Manchester United need to make in recent weeks, they have to make a statement and keep their best players. However, I think it's obvious now with Pogba and maybe 1 or 2 others who are not as talented as him, that they need to try and get as big a bucks as they can and go in a different direction. Because it's just not working. Yeah. Right? Now, let me go back to the management thing quickly. Do you think Manchester City and Liverpool were in the mindset in the modern day to give somebody the job for a few weeks and if they got some results, give them it full time? Yeah. Or did they think about a longer project, a longer term project to go and try and sign players and take them to the next level? Think about a former teammate of ours. And no slight on the man, Roberto Di Matteo comes in, interim manager at Chelsea, wins the Champions League. Yeah. Everybody's happy and he's doing a great job, gets the job for the next year, gone.
3 months.
Gone.
Yeah.
These things don't generally work. Yeah. And he had a really good squad of players. We're talking about, and this is no slight on Solskjaer, because what Solskjaer did, if he hadn't got the United job, he prepared himself into getting another job. Yeah. So he put himself back out there. However, I stand by what I said when he was appointed. This is absolutely crazy to have a guy with such little experience managing and trying to restructure and rebuild one of the biggest clubs.
For more, sign up now for ESPN Plus.